Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 20. Chapter 3. The Titan of Shakeout. Lumina's Determination. Damn, I knew it. Ultima wanted to curse him. She was bitterly convinced that magic would not work for Fen. Worst of all, the plan that Ultima and Luminous had made was to eliminate Daggerel with the most powerful disintegration. Even though she wanted to tell her that this was not the way to go, Fen was not so naive as to allow him to do so. In the end, Ultima saw the light pillar of disintegration shining in the distance, and realized that the mission had failed. There are some insectoids that can nullify magic, but not this one. Hahaha. You notice. Our magic nullifier is an anti-magic guard. It blocks the movement of Spiritron itself, so no matter what kind of magic we use, it won't work. That's very kind of you. Ultima replies with annoyance and sarcasm. Giants were also natural enemies for demons, whose strongest weapon is magic. It seems to be a characteristic of only the higher species, but their compatibility was so bad that it was almost laughable. He definitely knew this. He should have told us. She complained, but Guy is not here. It was now that Ultima understood from the bottom of her heart the importance of reporting, contacting, and consulting that Rimuru always talked about. However, it is too late for that. She had to find some way to attack, because she could not give up at this point. Ultima realized that the clue was in the nihilistic parade that Gadra was using. The reason why the old man went out of his way was because it was dangerous. Why is that? Needless to say, the answer is because it works. It has to do with the nature of magic. Magic rewrites the laws by influencing Magicule, and since Spiritron is included in Magicule, it is inevitable that magic nullification becomes an anti-magic guard. However, if it is a nihilistic magic among dark magic, it is considered that even magic nullification can't nullify it, since it summons infernal nihilism, and makes the energy it contacts vanish. This was already a certainty. Ultima did not hesitate to limit its attack to nihilism. Dark magic. Nihilistic vanishing hell. Ultima's nihilism attacked Fen. Damn, she's a pain in the ass. Demons are really good at harassing us. Fen's fighting aura drowns out the emptiness, but fails to do any damage. Nihilistic vanish is the most powerful dark magic as a counterpart of disintegration, but to Fen, it means nothing more than harassment. Still, it was not meaningless. Just as a cloud of dust makes a mountain, just as a drop of water can pierce a rock, repeated attacks would bring Fen down one day. There was plenty of time. Ultima searched for the path to victory and became more and more focused. They would repeat their attacks thousands and thousands of times with such precision that not even a single mistake would be allowed. If Fen's attack hits even once, Ultima will be defeated. That's how big the gap is. However, the speed, the most important factor in the battle, was not so different between Ultima and Fen. That is why the battle between Ultima and Fen was successful. There is another reason. It was the difference in combat experience. Ultima had been trained in combat against Zijin, an overwhelmingly strong opponent. This was the reason why Ultima and Zijin were more familiar with how to handle themselves against a strong opponent. The difference in existence values between Ultima and Zijin is not twice as great. You would think that Fen, with a difference of more than 20 times, would be more dangerous, but this was not the case. To use an analogy, Zijin's attack is like a spear. Insta-kill, and if you are pierced, you die. On the other hand, Fen's attack was like a huge hammer. It had great power, and even a single hit would do a great deal of damage. However, the difference is only between a point and its surface. The threat level is the same, as long as the amount of energy required to kill the enemy is exceeded. Fen's attack is more powerful, but it is no different from Zijin's in that it will kill you anyway. It was easier to feel better if they could make up their minds. She was worried about Luminous, but she had already given up on them. There was nothing she could do by worrying about them, so she had already driven them out of her mind. Ultima even regained the luxury of humming and started to play with Fen. Then Adalman came back. Miss Ultima, sorry to keep you waiting. Who's that? Ha ha ha, it's Adalman. Oh, well. You know what you have to do, right? Of course I do. With the high-speed communication by thought acceleration, the division of roles between the two was instantly determined. Adalman is in the vanguard against Fen, and Ultima is in the follow-up to reduce Fen's strength with dark magic. Nihilistic vanishing hell. After this point, the rest is just work. A rampaging boy with only physical strength is no match for us, is he? Ultima tells them with a wicked sneer, though it is a premature declaration of victory. The earth trembled. The absolute fury of the Demon Lord Daggerul dominated the battlefield. They honestly felt that this was impossible for Demon Lord Luminous Valentine. Her plan was to get rid of Daggerul by using the most powerful Seeker technique in the first attack. When it did not work, the defeat was inevitable. Disintegration, which returns any opponent to dust, would have killed Daggerul. Even the true dragon would have to be reborn after his life. And yet, the result was disastrous. Daggerul's magic nullification was a fell trait, completely destroying any chance of victory. At that point, Luminous had half expected this to happen. The battle between Albert and Glassard continued. At first glance, the battle seemed to be evenly matched, with neither side giving an inch. However, if you observe their battle through the ultimate skill-lustful king, Asmodeus, the situation shows a different aspect. The light of Glassard shines brightly, while Albert's light is so thin that it seems to disappear at any moment. Although the amount of life force that each player could cut was very small, the difference in the total amount of life force implied the victory or defeat. Before Albert could cut down Glassard, the winner was decided. Albert lost the game. However, they should not blame Albert for this. On the contrary, Albert should be praised for his great swordsmanship in the match against the King of Swords. Glassard is also a master of sword. If we consider the difference in energy as a handicap, we can say that Albert's skill level is superior to Glassard's. However, it is not enough to change the situation. At this point, Albert's defeat was only a matter of time. On the other hand, Ultima were giving Fen a good fight. The battle was getting more and more fierce, but it was already a game of attrition. They are impressed by the way Ermuir's subordinates were doing so well. Adalman and others were integrated with Gehenna Dragon Wenti, although the circumstances are unknown. Thanks to this, he seems to have gained a strong body, and the amount of magicule has increased significantly, but even so, against Fen, who is a mad fist comparable to a true dragon, the difference is obvious. Ultima, in particular, has been a long-time favorite of the true dragon. Especially Ultima, who had been tormenting Luminous for a long time, left them with a lot of impressions. At the same time, he felt a sense of admiration for him, but at the same time, I also felt a sense of bitterness that he is still a troublesome guy. Luminous is a complicated case. For Luminous, his vitality can be quantified, the gap between the two seemed to be hopelessly wide. And yet, they did not give up, and even showed a margin of enjoyment in the fight. However, this was based on her mental concentration, as if she was treading on thin ice. In Lumina's vision, she saw Adalman, who had abandoned his whole body defense and concentrated his energy only at the point of contact to cope with Fen's attack. The same is true of Ultima. Ultima is more stable than Adalman because it manages its energy more naturally, but it still ends with a single blow. To make up for the difference in energy density, she concentrates all her power in one point. It was such an amazing feat that it could be called divine. However, this technique does not last for a long time, and a momentary lapse of guard can be fatal. And yet, the main objective is to wear down the enemy in a prolonged battle, so it is needless to say how hopeless it is. It was a miracle that the battle was even fought, and Fen does not make use of Gleipnir. When it was in full force, it seemed to change the whole situation of the war. Finally, there was Xian. Xian, who had been beaten down in front of Luminous, was getting up again to challenge Daggerul. She was determined not to retreat, no matter how many times she was beaten. However, it was a feat of valor. The difference in fighting ability between Daggerul and Xian is so great that Luminous, who could read it in the numbers, cannot see anything but recklessness in Xian's actions. Xian is alive because she was under the protection of Luminous. Otherwise, she would have died almost certainly immediately. Even if Xian has an immortal body, if she is not given a chance to regenerate, she will lose her body. Although it is possible to regenerate from the soul, if one loses not only the material body, but also the spiritual body, the exposed astral body, as well as the heart core, would be shattered, and one would die. Luminous prevent this from happening. Luminous wipes her cold sweat as she watches over Xian. Don't do anything rash. Daggerul's sons were in a panic to stop Xian, who was upset. Oh miss. You can't do it. Xian-sama. Oh, no. We'd better run away. But Xian won't be cowed. Shut up. Ermuir-sama will not be defeated. I mean, I won't be defeated either. Luminous thought that this was a very unorthodox logic, but it was typical of Xian. And perhaps her words had made even Daggerul's sons come alive. Whoa. We're against them. We've got no choice. I'm ready. Let's do it. We'll do it. And we'll get the praise. They're determined, as they said, and went toward Daggerul. Well, you have grown up to be able to stand in front of me. Daggerul seemed to be happy, but he did not seem to have any intention to take it easy on them, and the next moment the three of them were knocked down. They were so badly injured by a single blow that they could not even stand up. They were still alive, so I guess they had been treated with a little bit of pressure. This is impossible. There is no way we can win. Luminous, who had reached a state of resignation, heard Xian's roar. Fufufu, good job, you guys. That was good spirit. I'll take care of the rest, and you can rest there. Xian herself had been badly injured by Daggerel. Even though she has already healed, the difference in strength between the two is still too great to overcome. Yet, Xian stands up and does not give up. Her appearance reminded us of a very old scene. It reminded her of the hero who had saved Luminous in the past. Let me help you. Gadra said and followed Xian. But there was no point. Xian and her team's attacks could not reach Daggerel, and they could not even touch him. This was the crossroads of the decision. They could continue to fight toward defeat, or they could run away from the game and try to regain their footing. A wise man would not have to choose. Yes, it is true. Yes, the old Luminous would have retreated without hesitation. There is no point in fighting a war that cannot be won. The country can be rebuilt, and there is no reason to remain here. There is no need for the Luminous, who have an eternal lifespan, to fight a life and death battle. But, are you sure about this? Is it really right to me to abandon Xian? Luminous is unsure. Since Daggerel is after Luminous, there is a better chance that Xian and the others will be saved if Luminous leaves now. She thought so, but she also understood that this was an excuse. She could not lie to her heart. Xian would not give up, just as Ultima and Adalman continued to challenge Fen. However, since there was no way to win, Xian's death was certain. But what if Luminous had cooperated? If Luminous has the ultimate skill lustful king, Asmodeus, she controls life and death. Even if they die instantly, they can be resurrected with Luminous. If Luminous retreats now, Xian will surely die. Abandoning his friends, and only me would run away. I refuse to accept such an ungrateful way of life. I am the proud queen of nightmares. Luminous, too, has made up her mind. Gunther. Here. Luminous calls out, and Gunther Strauss, her butler-like confidant, appears like a shadow. Luminous turns her head, and instead commands. I am a proud octogram, and I intend to share the fate of Xian here. There is no shame in running away, Gunther advises. Luminous, however, laughs it off. Running away in disgrace is not worthy. Don't you think so? Saying this, she gave a glamorous smile. It was a fascinating smile that did not match the appearance of a beautiful girl. Gunther was deeply convinced and remembered. Yes, she had smiled like this when she buried some god ancestor a long time ago. Luminous has always clung to life, but only to keep her promise to her friends. She is, in her essence, a proud queen. Queen of nightmares. Luminous Valentine is not one to run away. The noble vampire princess is the ultimate Makashi for Gunther and his friends. Yes, my lord. Gunther bowed reverently. Luminous nodded in return and said, If I am a vampire princess, I am a goddess. If I should perish, you may lead your people as the next king. Luminous' declaration was filled with determination and resolve. Yet, Gunther remained calm and unmoved. If it is the steward who obeys the Lord, Gunther is unmistakably the apostle of Luminous. What is a subject if he forsakes his king? Not a single one of Luminous Sama's men would be foolish enough to follow such a man. What? The evacuation of the people has already begun, but I'm willing to follow you. Luminous was puzzled by this unexpected defiance. For the first time, Gunther, who had been his loyal servant, disobeyed Luminous. The time of destruction will be with you. Gunther answered, waiting for Luminous' reply with a look of unwavering determination in his eyes. Luminous was puzzled, but she was soon amused. Do as you please, she commanded happily. Whoever he is like, he's a fool, Luminous says, smiling happily. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.